Arsenal. It's not the biggest bottle job if Arsenal don't win the league from this position. But basically, in 2014, should I say it? In 2014, there was Liverpool had a 7-point gap, and then Manchester City had 50. That's not what I said, though, was it? That's not what I said. What I said was no team has never had.
What did you say?
Are we going?
Yeah, I'm recording now. I've got this one's going to be chaos today. I'm just like it's all over the place.
It's fine. It's fine. I just want to address something. Did you catch the first part of what I said?
I think so. Yeah.
Spurs, Arsenal, they're not. This has happened before. It's not. It hasn't. No team has amassed this amount of points at this stage of the season and not gone on to win the league. It's not about how much gap there is. That's not what I said. Didn't mention a gap in points. I did not say that. All I said.
Yes, that's true. You did not say that. I kind of thought about that. I thought about it being about the gap. It's not about the gap.
You can. Anyone can might think anything about what I've said. But if you actually listen to the words that come out of my mouth, that's not what I said. What I said was, at this point in the season, no team has never won the league, having amassed the amount of points Arsenal had. That's it.
Yeah.
And what the fallout of that might be,
very serious.
It depends on whether or not how you take it. They're going to win the league. That's fucking done. Certainly after Man United result.
Well, yeah.
In my head, Man United with a team. Man United with a team in my head.
What? Now that could catch them. Not Man City. You think Man City are finished?
I don't know. No, of course not. They're not finished. But I just, in my head, I thought, Man United are looking quite tasty. Maybe they'll be our saviour from nowhere.
Do you know what the truth is? The truth is...
It's a weak league.
I feel... I'm just like... I was thinking about us in this podcast today, and I was just thinking, is anyone more fed up with football than me and you right now? Like, as a double act. And it is a double act. And where we were, Flav, we were something just a couple of months ago. Now, Rangers said rubbish. We've got bloody Paul Daniels as our manager. Like, we don't score. Oh, mate. I want to win all the games.
I know, Jim. I want to win all the games.
Good. I just want to be good.
James, I want us to win all the games together. Right, you win all the games, and do you know? Wouldn't it be nice, James? It's just to win the games.
Could you just let us win the games? Like that.
Why do we have to keep losing the games? Why can't we win the games?
I know, man. I'm just like, stop losing the games, like,
James.
Or like going 2-0 down the game and drawing the game, because it's like, what am I supposed to be happy with that?
No,
it's Reading.
James. What I don't understand is why the people in the club are not doing anything about losing the games.
Yeah.
I want them to do something. So we win the games.
Do you know what?
Yeah. Did you know?
This time of the year is such an angry time, don't you think? Because we're at the point where people can kind of know how their season's panning out, or can see the pure disaster of what could be the season. And for QPR, although, how bad is this, right? I had a drink with my mate Dom yesterday. He's a Brentford fan. And I was like, I just can't be asked for QPR at the moment. Like, I'm just really struggling with it. And he said, you're 4 points off the playoffs, aren't you? I was like, what? I had no. Is that true? I was like, and hang on.
If we beat City,
yeah, we're 4 points off the playoffs, but I'm so miserable.
James, if we beat City, we're 3 points behind. We're 3 points behind them, and we are hating it, absolutely hating it.
I just hate it. I hate football, and it's like, but what I know, the truth of all of it, right? So I'm going to say something quite inflammatory here, and please understand where I'm coming from. Everton fans, if Everton win 3 games on the trot,
but they are the most unhappy out of everybody.
Yes, and rightly so. Because do you know what's winding me up about QPR is like we won the playoffs in 2014, and we've had nothing since. And I know I'm sounding like there's always never compare all that shit. It's not even about comparing. I'm just just be involved. Be really involved. Don't get to January and don't stop making me going, oh, there's something happening here. Just fucking win the games and be involved.
And Jim, it's like the problem is you've had a taste. You had a little sniff of it. And that's worse. That's exactly where Spurs are. We've had a sniff that success may be around the corner, and now it's all cruelly falling away from us.
Yeah.
And we're just here. Do you know what I would say, Jim? After the North London derby, as bad as that was, I felt more calm and relaxed this week than I have in years.
Really?
Yeah.
That's interesting.
It's like I've done it. I've gone through the morning of what was.
Is that what you like? It's enough.
I won't allow myself. Football for me, Jim, it used to be, how can I let something can control me? How can I let something that I can absolutely not control me absolutely?
Yeah.
And I refuse.
Right,
and
yeah.
I've had a quite happy,
that's where I'm like,
week.
what am I doing? What am I doing? Do you know what the worst word in football is? Possibility.
Yeah, hope.
Just possibility. Like, well, we might go up. We're not going up, are we? We're shit.
This is James. At Spurs. There's a common phrase, and it might be used at other clubs as well, but Spurs hear it all the time. It's the hope that kills you.
Yeah.
Why do we still hope? Surely we should learn our lesson. There is no hope. It's the hope that kills you. There isn't any hope. Don't have any hope. It's done. It's over with. As soon as you accept the inevitability, you can just get on with your life and be happy. And the minute, so the minute Spurs start to get good, I'll get back on the bandwagon. I'll be right back on it. Back on it,
mate. Probably, yeah, definitely. Do you know what I find funny as well? Is like Chelsea this week spend 400 odd million in a transfer window. It's something like that, isn't it? Right?
What you mean over the last two?
Do you know what they're battling for? They're battling for like a cup. Do you know what I mean? I'm having an existential crisis here of like they're spending all this money with the desire to win a trophy, to be given a trophy by a stuffy bloke. That's what we're fighting for.
I'd take it. Jim, I see they've spent all that money. I can't even tell you what competitions Chelsea are in. I know they're in the Premier League, obviously.
Yeah.
But what when you say cup, which one? Which cup?
No,
what one?
No, but look, ultimately trophies. Essentially, it's like a little tin bit of tin.
Yeah.
Here you go. You won all the games. I'm getting annoyed at winning all the games or not winning games because I want to win all the games so that I can be given a trophy one day, Jim, for an afternoon.
It's actually, when you think about it, pathetic. It's pathetic. You're doing all of this for a little cup, a tiny cup. You're spending all this money for a tiny little cup. Is that what it is?
Yeah.
You're pathetic. Yeah. We're pathetic. All football fans are pathetic. That's what we've come to realise here.
Yeah. Do you know what's the worst? The Ashes.
What you're jumping around screaming. You're making up singing songs. You're going mental. You're going to spending hundreds of pounds for what? To win a little cup? What is this world? What is it?
I just think we need to get this out. I think we all need to get this out. Where it's just like, because it is all, and this is the thing, Flav. It's just all about winning the games. Because
if you're not winning the games?
Because when everyone's like, some people are just like really reasonable or sensible or humble, but they're the ones winning the games. and it doesn't matter how you play. I talk about performance. It's not important. I don't care. Yeah. Just win the games. I want to sneak to the toilet. I want to have a sit-down wee, which we're going to be talking about in great depth later in the podcast. So stick around. Why? Stick around, Christ! I want to sneak off to the toilet. I want to get my phone out at 4:45, and I want to look at the results, and I want to see a higher number on next to my team than to the opposition's team. That's all I want.
That's all you want.
Every week.
That doesn't sound like too much to ask for. Do you know what we had loads of this week, Jim? Why have we got 600 comments on the last podcast?
Well,
I've never seen that before.
It's part of the madness of this podcast that in a North London derby weekend, we've had 600 odd comments.
Is it about Spurs and Arsenal?
No, it's about you. It's about sit down wheeze. It's about sit down wheeze. Yeah.
What?
Do you know what I'm going to call this podcast? I might call it. I don't know if I've got the nerve to do it, but I might just do it almost as an experiment to see if we get the exact same amount of views. I'm going to call it "Lifting the Lid on Sit Down Wheeze."
You won't. We'll get 15,000 views.
I might just try it. See.
Do what we want, but it's just
I'd be intrigued. I just think that's too good a title. Lifting the lid.
The lid.
Sit down ways.
Very good.
Yeah, people. Yeah, you thought you took an L with the North London derby. You've taken a huge one when it comes to the sit down ways.
What's the vibe? How have I got this so wrong?
It's an ugly vibe.
Can I just start this? Before we get into, because it's still Lou chat. I know we should get.
It's not a Lou start. I mean, that's the thing. I mean,
but I just got power moved by Robbie on Sky on Saturday.
Did you?
I was on Soccer Saturday. I just wanted to say this, get this out there.
Someone
said
you swore. Is that true?
Did I?
Someone said you said the F word, or did you nearly say the F word?
What, they let it through? Don't they have a dump?
I don't know. What do you mean dump?
I think.
Dump? What do you mean dump?
So you have a dump. It's called a dump on a dump button on when you're on radio. It's like 15 seconds. You press it and it disappears.
Well, right.
So I think something did come out of my mouth, but I don't remember it specifically, and no one made a big deal out of it. But if I never get booked again, that might be why. But anyway, so we've done this big chat about North London derby, and off camera, like there was like it was actually really nice spending time with Robbie. He's a good lad, really nice guy. And I got into the toilet after him. There's 3 urinals. You know the size of the man. He's taking the fucking middle urinal.
No way.
So it's a massive bounce. I had to fucking scuttle off to the cubicle, and I said to him when I was pissing, I said, "Robbie, I can't believe you took the middle urinal." He just started cracking up. He goes, "I've got a little elbow room, have I?"
That's a Don move, isn't it?
Don Robbie.
Robbie Lyle is the type of guy. Let us know in the comments down below.
Whoa, that is dangerous.
Yeah, maybe. Robbie Lyle's the type of guy to take the middle urinal. Fact.
To be fair, he was in there alone, and I came in 10 seconds later. But I was like, "Oh, you've taken. Where am I going to go?"
Oh, what? You were there? You were there on your own?
No, I was there after him.
Oh, okay. So he was there on his own.
Oh, he was pissing, and then 10 seconds later, I went in for a wee, and he'd taken the middle.
Well, do you know what? Funnily enough, I was in a pub yesterday, and I thought I did that. I did that twice. I took the middle one, and I remember then mid-wee thinking, "What have I done? What if someone comes in?"
Yeah.
So
Robbie didn't care.
So yeah, me and Robbie are very similar when it comes to those kind of power moves. We're going to bookend today's podcast with 2 slugs in the wild. We've got one at the start, one at the end, which I like. I love slugs in the wild. It's great. Thomas Martin, son of wow. I always like to say the son of Nigel Martin, because when he then says something like this, it just makes it even better. So, by the way, if you want to enjoy the podcast live with us, we have a Patreon. Links in the description. It's less than a London pint. I had a non-alcoholic pint. Yesterday. Is that something that you turned your nose up?
No, I did. I had a non-alcoholic IPA.
Right. Yeah. How does everyone feel about non-alcoholic beer? Because it's something that I think about 3 years ago I would have gone, what's wrong with you? Don't you like alcohol? Whereas now I'm like, this is great. Because it feels like it without the repercussions.
Yeah, it does feel like it, but as a way to stop drinking, it's not helpful because it's sort of triggering. So you have a non-alcoholic and you think, well, I just want a real one now. Whereas if you just have a cup of tea, it's separate. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, I'm sort of different. I'm sort of like, this is it's like virtual drinking. It's sort of like soothing. It's like, it feels like, all that, but I know I'm not going to feel bad at all.
Yeah, I suppose.
But anyway, Thomas Martin, who is a patron, sorry. Thomas Martin, Nigel Martin's son, says Robbie Lyle is the kind of guy to do a stand-up poo. Sometimes I just like to say sentences that I just know I'll never say again, and that's one of them. People saying non-alcoholic beers, no point. That's such a young idea.
It stinks of Luke. Yeah. It was him. Yeah, it was. What a piece of shit. Yeah, that man is.
Yeah. We another reason to become a patron. We go after patrons. It seems like sort of, if we become comfortable enough with you, we will go after you. And there's about a 5-minute rant on Luke in a couple of mailbags ago. We went after Ollie this week, didn't we?
We know he touches a dog's arse quite often.
Yeah, I wasn't going to give that one, but anyway.
Could it kind of go? Well, no, yeah, but you just got to give him a taste.
Yeah, of that premium patron content. So yeah, anyway, slugs in the wild. This is interesting. always because often I put stuff in the running order where I'm just like, I want
Are we
to know
doing
what
any football? Are we doing any football?
Yeah, we'll do a bit of
gonna
football.
ask.
I want to put this at the start. I don't know why. I just felt
Go
like
on,
that.
then.
I want to get
Go
your
on.
thoughts on it. Yeah, we'll talk about
It's your
football. Don't worry.
podcast. Do you?
It's not. It's our podcast.
Well, it's our podcast, your channel. You do what you want.
It's our podcast. Never say that.
Have you not? Well, yeah, James. I know that it's our podcast. I'm acutely aware of that. Have you not seen the change in my Twitter bio? No, you haven't. You don't care about me. You've muted me, haven't you?
I don't. No.
I've muted you.
How often do you read people's Twitter bios? That's
all
creepy.
the time.
That's really creepy.
All the time. I read yours 3 times a day, just in case there's just any.
Just because he's changed. Just because ditched you.
One half of Jaffin, it says.
Do you know what's happening as the pod grows? Is just certain things happen in the world, and we'll just get sent.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Link after link after
link. I know what you're talking about. I had 16 DMs last night,
mate. Same. It's like, and after a while, you just see the start of it going. You see at ITV Football, and you okay, yeah, no, I saw Roy Keane said that's your job.
It's your job.
It's your job. You actually got one of those.
That was mental though. For him to just, I don't know if he's playing a game. That was one of the best triple saves I've ever seen.
Yeah, it was amazing. It's really
most goalkeepers couldn't do that.
So let's have a look at it. Anyone if you read someone's bio, I think it's a little bit creepy, isn't it? Just funny, so if I type in Flav, you're the third name that comes up. Is that your mum?
My mum comes second. Yeah, can you? Great. Everyone knows my mum's brilliant.
That's fine. Right? Let's have a look at your bio. So I produced the Fighting Cock and No Hole as well. One half of Jaffin. Good. Consider Gully. Slugs. Nice.
Everything you need.
Yeah, that's good.
Well, it's missing on yours. It's missing. Usually it says beauty care on. Oh, never mind.
Beauty care.
Well, it's even put media influencer, which you have to put something, and I chose. I didn't want that. That was there for a bit.
Right.
So now it says beauty, cosmetic, and personal care, which is what I'm all for.
Do you know when you tweet sometimes? Do you see people sort of having arguments to the side? And you keep getting notifications because whilst they're having an argument.
Yeah,
seen that?
Happens a fair bit. Yeah.
I sort of two people having an argument this week about one of them had a blue tick, and one of them didn't.
Was it verified or was it like the
sort of bought it? You know, you buy it, right? How do you feel about all that? Because they kind of it was quite good. He was sort of going after going, oh, you think you're shit because you got a blue tick, and they sort of kept going back and forth. And I thought the guy did well. He came back and went, I'll send you £9 if you want. I was like, that was quite good. But yeah, what's the deal with the blue tick thing?
Well, basically, it's Elon Musk's way of generating money, and so anybody can have a blue tick, and you get all of the benefits of being verified without actually having to have done anything.
And what are the benefits again?
You sort of show up at the top of people's timelines when you ask them a question. Your reply will be prioritized over others. You get other access to other features. I don't know. I've not done it, but I know it's that kind of thing. But the irritating thing about this is legitimately having the blue tick previously was beneficial for business. Like, so the Fighting Cock, the podcast one, Twitter is properly verified. But literally 2 weeks later, Elon Musk took over, and now the blue ticks don't really mean anything at all. But so basically, you can talk to other verified people as well. So you can DM other verified people. So you could go to the top of the queue. We would try to get Steve Nash, the basketball geezer, on the Fighting Cock once, but he's followed by four. Yeah, he's followed by 4.2 million people. So when we DM'd him now, he sees it, whereas before it would have just been. That's the difference.
All right, Slugs in the Wild, and then we'll head to Twitter and have a little chat. And also I've got there's some Tottenham chat, isn't there? Believe it or not. Right, so hang on here. Well, first of all, Flawless, which was the guy we were talking about, his Slugs in the Wild story, which was great. If you missed the back end of last week's podcast, just watch the end of the Slugs in the Wild. A lovely story, touching story. Anyway, and he said, I'm waiting to see if last week's delayed Slugs in the Wild was mine, to then hear James read out my name incorrectly. Was a surreal experience. The buzz of having a story read out on Jaffin is on a 90-minute winner levels. Because it was right at the end of the podcast. He didn't see it coming. Ollie Howard. I think I've got a pretty good case in Slugs in the Wild. we're at uni, and me and this girl seemed to create a rather complicated relationship where we'd go clubbing together with our group friends before heading back to hers or mine afterwards for the night. Nothing would ever happen in that sense. Bracket, sorry, Flav.
Well, why are you going back then?
That was one of my tests. I wanted to see, because I was reading it like that, and I was like, "Oh, going back to his, no, yeah, great work, well done, happy days."
What, going back and reading a book together? I get wholesome platonic relationships, but going clubbing full of mud, coming home and going, "Oh, I'm going to hit the sack." Surely he's walking around with a glorious semi.
Oh, you would or quickly nip off to the toilet to get that going, at least, just to see. I don't know. I mean, I presume most. I don't know if even heterosexual women see a penis and go, "Let's go."
Of course they do.
Do they?
Yeah.
Ladies, let us know.
Why do men send so many dick pics if that isn't the case?
That's interesting, isn't it? Female things only women know, or actually, gay men would know as well, of course.
Yeah. Do you like dick pics?
But I want the sort of the I don't know, women. When you see a penis, how do you feel? Let me know. Are you just like, ugh? Just like generally, they're just
disgusting?
They're not great, are they? They're not
no, I mean like a flaccid penis. There's not much worse in the world than a flaccid penis.
At what? But okay, so at what stage are you interested? how much juice in the goose?
With it's half mast is when they get interested.
Is it like what? Like so, but hang on. So like, look, you can see it. So at what point does it need? Because things only men know. Does it need a little bit, or does it need to be like one of those where it's like sort of like if you did the like stomach tense thing, it would go poof. Do you need that? Do you know what I mean?
I don't think you need to do that much. No. I think if it's like this, zero. It's almost like
vibrant.
Bit like a speedometer. Speedometer, right?
Right, but like wow, yeah. But once you tense it, it doesn't go back down, does it?
No, you're right. Yeah, but it's like this, no interest. Then it's like, so hello.
Yeah, hello. Stop.
Stop. What's going on here?
Stop. I think stop there. I think it's just a gentle bit of vibrancy would women would go, oh, something's happening here.
All right, all men will know this. When you get up in the morning, right, and you take off your pajamas or boxer shorts you slept in to swap them for a new pair, the stage where your dick is at then, that's when they're most interested. It's that just flop. Yeah. When you've got a flop on.
Yeah. An impressive flop. Sure.
Yeah.
Comments are coming in saying football podcast. God, I thought fan was coming in there. I was just like, oh my God. Let me just close the door.
I just want to quickly say that this is my daughter's cup. Although I'd have absolutely no issue in drinking from a pink cup. That isn't a euphemism. And that's why this. I'm not making a statement by this. Is it C for Chloe?
Okay. Anyway, so yeah, I just wanted to see, because when I read it, I was reading this like before heading to hers or mine afterwards for the night. I was like, okay, I'm listening, and then nothing would ever happen. I felt my own face go, oh. So and your face did the same, which is I
was more angry if anything. Go on.
Disappointing, yeah. But I guess we just enjoyed each other's company. Oh,
that's nice.
Anyway, after watching practically everything of interest to us on Netflix, Disney Plus, and dodgy streaming sites.
What?
We eventually
what dodgy streaming sites are we talking about here?
Send a link.
We eventually. I know them all anyway.
yeah. Don't waste your time. We eventually decided to move on to YouTube. Whilst on her homepage, I was absolutely stunned, flabbergasted, in fact, to see an episode of Jaffin about 75% of the way through, on the forefront of her recommended page. I said, "No effing way do you watch Jaffin," I exclaimed, promptly throwing the duvet onto her and jumping out of bed. They're both in a bed. There's a lot going on, isn't there?
There's a lot going on, but not like what you'd expect.
Let's go. Of you know,
just mates, just good mates.
Yeah. She was equally as shocked. I've never seen a girl's eyes light up like the way hers did, trying to gauge where we were on the slugger meter. I realised that she really was the moistest one out there. Me, on the other hand, edged on the damp side of the scale. Brackets, I've only been invested in the pod for the last few months or so. She taught power move. She taught me the art of Samisms, reminisced about one for the weekend, and fangirled over home wins. We proceeded to watch the beautiful compilation which was made for Flav's wedding, pissing ourselves laughing at Frank flailing his paws on the keyboard as he desperately tried to escape Flav's grasp. A couple of weeks later, she became my girlfriend. Finally,
there we have it.
And we've now booked a trip to Milan for Valentine's Day, conveniently in time for AC Milan versus Tottenham. I'm yet to encounter another slug in the wild, but I'm pretty sure I found a pretty good one here. 107 likes, 16 replies. Lewis says, this must be the first time Jeffan has led to a relationship since I met that old fella at the services for a nosh behind the bins. But importantly, William, and as a big part of the other 16 replies was what William Frost said was, are we calling it? Flav,
well, so
I
want to believe, but something in the back of my mind says this might not be true, but I hope so. And there's only one way to prove it, Ollie.
Exactly.
And what might that be?
Yeah, you two under a duvet
in Milan,
holding a spoon.
All right.
Actually, when people talk about your visualizing, Loki Doki said that you need to visualize. we need a picture of you visualizing holding a spoon. Just
on that, I can visualize. I can't visualize it. I'm not doing this again. But there are 5% of people out there with the exact same condition, so it's not that uncommon.
Okay. Tom Jordan says reeks of Dotty. OGs will know exactly what that means.
I haven't thought about Dotty in
Foster.
years. Dotty Foster.
I bet Dotty Foster still watches,
So Dotty Foster. So just quickly, when we used to do one for the weekend, there was this girl who watched the podcast called Dotty Foster. And we had a producer at the time called Tanvir. And we would talk about Dotty. It was because she was a girl in the comments. Obviously, there were a lot of flies flying around, and I don't know what that means, but you understand. And then and Tanvir went, I think she's a catfish, and we were like, what? No. And he went, we need a picture of her holding a spoon, and it never came, and she disappeared.
Yeah, she was gone,
and that was that. She was gone. Well, she just changed the name.
Well,
she's
no,
still
initially, yeah, she sort of she tried to push back a little bit, but then I mean, you'd have to go all the way back to one for the weekend days. But anyway, that's what Tom thinks. Football phrase out of context. Actually, let's talk football. Let's talk football, shall we?
Yeah.
Big game is Arsenal, Man United this week.
Did you see Arsenal close to signing Trossard? What do you think of that? Because when he was linked to Spurs, we were like, he's good. But is he good?
Yeah. I think he's good. I like him.
I think he's good. And for what would it cost, £12 million? It's a good signing. Like if I would have wanted him at Spurs. And he just fills in the numbers, and he's going to be perfectly fine when he plays.
Yeah, good to go. Exactly. Isn't he? Smart.
Yeah.
As played at a smart club, where I think he'll be able to take in information, get up to speed pretty quickly. It'd be interesting to see where he plays, because at times he's played absolutely everywhere for Brighton. He's played.
Yeah, it's mainly on the left and up top as well. But I'd imagine. He's not going to start. He'll be on the bench, isn't he? He's not getting ahead. But you know, Emil Smith-Rowe's fit now, isn't he? So
yeah. So it's all sweet Gunners are getting sweeter by the day. I wonder if there's something in the fact that he doesn't want to spend big on a striker, and maybe wants to play Martinelli as a striker sometimes. I wonder if that's a bit of a road that they might want to go down with him. But I like Trossard. I like how Arsenal have behaved, in terms of the Mudryk deal. They were like, this is the number. Okay, someone else is going to pay more. So be it. Because there's enough players out there.
It was mad though. I mean, on Arsenal, this is I'm done with the whole digging Arsenal out. North London derby's done. I'm not going to keep doing it now because it's boring, right?
Draw a line.
So talking about them seriously, but the Mudryk deal. They were convinced over that it was theirs. You couldn't see them not stop talking about it. They were so excited about him, and then Chelsea out of nowhere just stamp all over the deal and take him.
Well, use the right word, Flav.
Swooped
and gazumped.
They gazumped and swooped over, and
it was a hijacking.
Yeah, it was a hijacking. It was a hijacking. But you got there's some stage, because this is what I was saying to Robbie, and I kept banging on about how much Arsenal have spent and they're about to spend on Mudryk. And I was like, sometimes at a point, you have to become accountable for what you're doing. And I'm sure they're aware of this. But Chelsea just don't seem to give a shit. Surely they're not compliant.
Okay, so
I know there's a window where they can sell players, by the way. They can still sell, but it just seems like they're not.
So I had a really, really great conversation this week with an American who will remain unnamed for now, but might be able to talk about it soon. Anyway, he was giving me the perspective on, because what I find interesting is, it's sort of media narrative, right? And Todd Boehly, the sort of like the idea that he's like stupid and unhinged and all these things, it comes from him being American and being in the Premier League. Like, it's as simple as that,
in the way he's behaving in these sort of ballsy, sort of bullish transfer,
and the outrageous amount of money that, of course, they are spending, and the fact that it feels and looks a little bit lazy when you go and buy Cucurella because Man City wanted him, and you go and buy Mudryk because Arsenal wanted him. When that might not totally be the case. What was brilliant in this conversation was that he was sort of telling me about the American perspective and American sports and how it works. And what was really interesting is that by the time he'd finished talking to me about it and explaining that American lens on it, I was like, oh, okay, they mean business, Chelsea. Like, this isn't all going to fall down. And it made me think about how so often American sport, America in general, is kind of ahead of the curve. And it made me really think that, Todd Boehly's he's making moves, it's bullish, but basically what he's saying was that, so in baseball, there's no salary cap, whereas in other American sports there is, and obviously there's the draft and stuff like that. And in baseball, what they do is they will buy, and I'm sure like our American listeners will be going like, I'm hashing this, I'm screwing it up, but let me just try. He said this amazing phrase where, so when you're buying players, you need to think about are you buying a house or are you buying a car when it comes to like the depreciation of a player. Because I was saying to him that what's going to be interesting about these 8-year deals is the fact that the thing that I think is quite smart about them is that, say like Keane Lewis-Potter, who was bought for Brentford 7-year deal, when the year of depreciation is generally two years, isn't it? Well, they're in the last 2 years of their contract. That's when the sort of depreciation sort of seems to happen.
Yeah, of course.
And then the other element of depreciation is age, right? So I think those 7-year deals, one of the things that help with it is the fact that it gives you time, right? So you can have 5 years and see if this guy is actually good and still sell them young, and their sort of level of depreciation isn't too bad because you still got 2 years on the contract as well, right? So he was saying that, like, maybe it's an American phrase, I don't know, but are you buying a house or are you buying a car? If you're buying a car, you're buying a Aubameyang, for example. You're buying a Aubameyang now where you're not going to get the money back. You just want the shiny thing now, and you want it to work out now, right? Whereas if you're buying a house, you're seeing where it's going. So what Chelsea are doing, or they're trying to do, is something that they do in baseball a lot of times, where they'll give someone or give a few people 10-year, £300 million contracts, and there's an idea that you're going to pay them. You're going to get them almost cheap early doors, and you might be paying them a little bit too much down the road. But by buying these sort of houses, as long as you have enough of them, if you have the volume of them and you really go for it and you have all these assets, the way football works now is that if you loan them out for 5 million this year, 6 million the next year, or whatever it may be, and then you think of the revenue stream of younger players in the academy as well, as long as Chelsea have enough quality assets and they're all young enough, you'll make loads of money back, so you can go too big. Because say Mudryk, you let someone have him for 10 million a season for 2 of the years, like you start to bring money back in, and
there's essentially invisible revenue, or revenue you don't account for. A lot of fans look at it as a way of right, well, what transfers are coming in, and that's it. That's how you balance the books. But you're right. You'd be selling young players from the academy. You'll be you might loan these players out or whatever it is. But how many houses do Chelsea have? Do you think then? If Mudryk is one,
yeah. So
Koulibaly isn't one. Aubameyang isn't one. Sterling isn't one.
No. And I guess was Koulibaly bought?
He's 31 for 50 million.
Yeah, was he bought with Bowley? I guess he probably was. But yeah, I think broadly.
James,
go on.
So just quickly, is that guy? That guy seems to be finding ways of. He may have a vested interest in kind of understanding the way Todd Bowley operates because he's or he's willing to educate because he's an American and he wants to. But my point is, in football, there's too much chaos to predict. Like Ndombele, we thought. Look what happened to Ndombele. We're losing money hand over fist on what we thought was an investment.
Yeah. No, I get football,
that. It seems,
and that was my sort of rebuttal, was the idea that. So all I'm saying though is it's
Cucurella's stock has dropped massively, hasn't it?
Yes, yeah, exactly. And I think I used Ndombele actually as an example in my sort of rebuttal to that. Is I'm not saying it's not without risk, but what I am saying is that it isn't a thoughtless strategy. Like
no. Is that going on? James, is that going on your channel? When I'll be fascinated to watch that.
It's not, but I probably could share it with you.
Yes, do.
Okay,
please.
Yeah.
Cameron Fraser says Fofana is correct. Fofana.
So yeah, Fofana, Badiashile, or Badashile, however you want to say it. He is one. Cucurella to a point. Kind of is, right?
Still got time.
But there are problems with it because you have got, you got the Bakayokos of this world with Chelsea or Ross Barkley. Like there's a lot of those players as well. Exactly. Who's still under contract overall at Chelsea. But I think if you open your mind to it a little bit, I think my point is that it's not thoughtless. That there's it's yeah,
and they have been accused of being sort of scattergun and there hasn't been a plan. When in reality, you don't become Todd Bowley with the riches he has without him being foolhardy and without plan.
Yes, exactly. And also there'll be some of these. That's it. You just got to kind of look at the revenue streams and the alternate revenue streams that kind of come from it. I even myself have gone. You're just seeing shiny things and buying them. But they're buying the.
That's what it seems like.
Yes, but they're buying the youngest, shiniest things in their mind, and so say three of those do well, right? You might actually kind of get them cheap when it comes to contract wages for a few of those extra years. You secure their services for a long period of time. And again, say you do want to sell them, which I think is a thing that an oversight a little bit, because again, who's going to buy these players? And often you don't want to sell players to other players within the same league. And if you're going to then sell those players to La Liga and Serie A and those other leagues, those guys don't have big money really like they used to. So that pool of teams that can buy these players is less. But with some of those players, if you then, again, if the volume is there and you've got the next big young thing, you might go, okay, let's sell 27-year-old Mason Mount for 120 million and let the next guy come through and the cycle continues.
It does feel though that they have, even if that is the case, and in baseball it might work if there's no salary cap, they will have to balance the books because they're not going to be generating the kind of money that they are spending on transfers.
Yeah, and I think the thing is, I guess again, that volume is crucial of the academy as well as everything else. The loan market and using those players as well is really, really important because you're right. They have kind of gone and done that. But I think they use the word amortization. And I don't know if this is about this, but basically in terms of like the breaking up of a contract, you can, in terms of the money you spend, you can move that along the contract. But in terms of the money that comes in, that can go on that first year to sort of save you as well. So they have outs a little bit as well.
I think as football fans, we simplify finances in football in a way that isn't fair. And, the cost of a player isn't just the transfer fee. It's the amount of money you spend on his wages over a 5 or 6 or 7, or in Mudryk's case, an 8-year contract.
Yeah, thank you, Catherine, for telling me that I got the correct word. Yeah, delighted. So I kind of finished in this chat I was having with this guy. My sort of final question was like, we're in the fullness of time, because I do like you do see it, and like I've seen it with like XG and stats and things like that, where people there's just this sort of like football's about goals, or do you know what I mean? There's this sort of pig-headed Britishness about all of it. So I kind of said like, in the fullness of time, will he be a chump or will he be a genius? And he was like, that's a really tough question to answer. But
same. I guess the same could be said. Maybe not a chump or genius, but you don't know until you know.
Yeah.
And you have to see it play out in time to understand that question. But
it could lead to this because the thing is, if he is at the forefront of it for those real powerhouses, it's the stockpiling of talent is going to get ridiculous when it comes to...
Man City and Chelsea already do that in terms of their youth setups.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
Who would be a good manager for Chelsea if Potter isn't the guy to manage all of these massive players? Antonio.
Oh.
Well, Conte would do wonders back at Chelsea.
Well, great link there, mate, because Thomas Tuchel has been linked. Because we did want to have a quick chat about this. Is this like, has this brightened up your mood a little bit? The Tuchel interest in Tottenham job if Antonio Conte leaves, despite Chelsea affection. Do you want to know, when I read this article, does this annoy you? Because QPR have had a lot of sort of Chelsea people over the years, or different clubs. You've hired 4 ex-Chelsea managers over the years.
Oh yeah, Jose Mourinho, AVB, Conte. Who else?
Hoddle.
Oh, of course, Hoddle. Does it bother me? It used to bother me. It used to bother me that like Gallas used to play both of them and end up at Spurs. It bothered me when we signed Bentley because he came from Arsenal effectively via Blackburn. But as you get older, you realise it's all bollocks. Like, these players don't give a shit who they play for.
Yeah,
they don't care really. Typically, but some do maybe. But typically, you get over that sort of stuff. I think.
I've got a question for you.
Okay.
If you're a sort of you've had a relationship with someone, right? And you find out they've bummed the kids, right? And then you're sort of like, so you part ways. Of course you do. They've bummed the kids. And then about 4 or 5 years later, you're just like, yeah, I know. Well, they did. I get it. Like, they bummed the kids, but life's not been the same since this guy or girl or whatever. Can you bum kids? We can. Probably can't. Maybe we just push that to the side and start again.
Yeah, I think
you would entertain.
I can't remember why that person did bum the kids, because when that was first discussed.
Sorry, okay, just so let's scene, because I have to explain that. For those of you who haven't been listening to the podcast for a very long time, when Poch got the sack, Flav tried to go, look, it was one of those enough was enough kind of thing he was trying to say, and you used the analogy that he'd bum the kids. Okay.
Yeah, if you bum the kids, you can't go back. The relationship's over.
Yeah. But apparently not.
But enough time passes, you can't remember the context of that. So we you're asking whether or not I want Poch back at Spurs.
That's what I'm really asking. Tuchel, I guess. I think Tuchel's exciting, no?
Well, there's a couple of things I want to say. Okay. I don't want Conte to go. Right? I think Conte is the right manager at Spurs. I think that with the right players, if he's given them, he can achieve things at Tottenham. I'm sick and tired of sacking managers, getting new ones, sacking them. I would accept, and again, you should have to look at Arsenal. They had a plan. They stuck with the manager despite their fan base screaming, "Get rid of this chump. He doesn't know what he's doing. Fuck the process." All that shit. There were a few that did say they wanted to stay and let's just wait and see. But they waited, they trusted, they knew what they're doing. There was a plan, collective plan, and they let's see how this plays out. How satisfactory? How satisfied are Arsenal fans right now? They couldn't be happier because of this. Because the board and the manager stuck together, and then they backed him in the transfer market. They did all the things you're supposed to do. what is frustrating as a fan base is if you're sacking a manager, you don't know what's coming next. There's a new transfer policy. There's a new sort of style of play you have to get interested in. Let's just stick with him, give him what he wants, encourage, and all this is caveated to the fact that is caveated by he won't sign a contract. Yeah. I want all these players, but I'm not going to sign a contract. So what if you're not here in 4 months? Anyway, so my answer is I don't want either of them. I want Conte to stay, but this isn't the way Spurs work, and typically Conte will probably be sacked at some stage this season, or at the end he will just leave at the end of his contract. So the answer is, what an amazing position it is for a club to be in, to have two managers that would want to come back, and Tuchel being a Champions League winner, cup winner in Germany, won a treble with PSG. Is that right?
Probably.
Then, yeah, even if he didn't, doesn't matter. So we have options there. My preference over the two would probably be Poch back.
Really, because the one thing is about that sort of, I say my feeling on these things when it comes to managers, like the Arteta idea that you're putting forward is fine, but you have to believe in the man. Do you believe that would be my concern? If I was a Tottenham fan, my problem would be I'm not sure I believe the man. Like, I'm not sure I like Conte. Do you know what I mean?
You like it when you're winning. You love him. I've got you see his passion. You do love him. When he's losing, he's unbearable.
Yeah.
But look, he's a winner. That's what winners behave. They hate losing, right?
But he'd be less unbearable if he was committed. You don't know he's committed. That's the problem.
Yeah, exactly. If he signed a 3-year deal, and this is what I don't understand, James. It makes no difference to him if he's got a 3-year deal or a 4-month deal. You can leave whenever you want. At any time you can walk away going, this ain't for me, boys, and go.
Yeah.
But what he does by signing the contract is he shows he's committed to the club, even if it doesn't really mean anything. He's committed to the club. Don't leave go, all right, what do you need? How do we make this happen? Or more likely go, well, that's too expensive. But whatever it is, where you can at least build towards something. But right now you just don't know where his head's at. Like now he's going, it's a weird thing in England that only the coaches have to confront the media. No one's ever complained about that before in the history of the Premier League.
Yeah.
Or football for it. That's just the way it is in this country.
Yeah.
I don't want to hear about fucking from a physio. Because one of the sports people ever have to answer a question. I don't want to know. I don't care. You deal with that. You're the manager of the club. You deal with it. Fucking start winning some games.
Yeah, just win the games.
Shouldn't you just win the games, please, Antonio?
Yeah. I think the thing I'm struggling with Conte is like, okay, like sometimes it's worked in terms of the football's been okay. But it's like that Arsenal game, I was like, I've seen this game so many times. Like Tottenham play the same. They're still playing the same way from Nuno.
It's the same game every.
Same Mourinho.
It wasn't the same. Yeah, you're right. But it wasn't the same towards the end of last season where we were slapping teams 3 or 4, 5. Beat Newcastle 5-1 at home. Eddie Howe's Newcastle. I know they're not as good as they are this year, but it's still him. We beat Everton 5-0. Beat Arsenal 3-0. We won 5 out of the last 6, including Arsenal and away at Anfield. We drew, which we should have won. That was less than 18 Premier League games ago. Look, what is it? Just over 18 Premier League games ago.
It's incredible how the feeling.
And we could potentially be tomorrow 3 points behind City. But it's just maybe it's us. We're the problem. Maybe we're the problem.
Maybe. Okay. People are getting annoyed about the fact we're talking about football. So let's draw a line on that. Okay. Football phrase out of context. I had a joke a couple of weeks ago about Roy Keane getting a sexual favour from someone. And he said as he climaxed, because it was a sex worker.
That's your job.
That's what you're paid to do.
This is my issue. Take my issue. It's your job.
What he's had a great rejuvenation, Roy, isn't he? Everyone loves him.
I love him.
I love him. Do you know what's great? Someone sent me actually a video about Ali McCoy telling a story about him in Qatar. Quickly, basically, Ali McCoy said, he was like, I'm going to go to the beach. He went to the beach and said there was no one on this beach, apart from right at the end, there was on one sun lounger, was Roy. You can see Roy Keane with the headphones in, with his headphones in, and his eyes closed. And he thought, Ali McCoy went, there's no danger. there's no danger that he wants to be disrupted by me and wants to sit next to him. And Ali McCoy went, so part of me thought, do you know what, I'm just going to rock up and sit right next to him, wind him up. And he thought, no, I won't do that. But he went up to him. So he went up to him, and Roy Keane took one ear out, apparently, and opened one eye. And Ali McCoy went, hi, Roy. You'll be pleased to hear that I'm not going to bother you. I just wanted to say hello, and I'm just going to leave you alone, okay? and very Roy Keane didn't even reply. He just put his headphone back in and went, thumbs up. Class. Fucking love Ali McCoy. What a guy.
He is amazing. He's amazing as well. But what's like, I didn't feel any way about Roy Keane until he did the overlap with him once. And I just thought, I love this geezer. He's so, like, especially when you're sitting next to Jamie Carragher and Gary Neville, it ain't hard to look like the cool one.
Yeah.
But
Do you know what is great? It's the little Gary Neville said something where it's like they'll never worry about about Roy Keane, because like he pretends that he's annoyed, and then he does the tiny little smile, doesn't he, Roy? And you kind of go, oh, a little grin, and you know, like everything's golden. He's class, man. Ali McCoy, by the way, I met up with Seb Hutchinson, who's a commentator for ITV, was at the World Cup, and he was saying, I was saying, oh, you know, what's everyone like, da, da, da. And he was saying how Ali McCoy is just the most incredibly emotionally intelligent guy, and he just makes you feel fantastic when he talks to you. Like little things, he said tiny things. He's just a wonderful human being. Like things like, he said that they were all having a drink or something, and then Seb had to go, and he said he knows McCoy did this on purpose, but it's because he's a great guy. Apparently McCoy went, Seb was sort of getting up and going, and in front of everyone, McCoy sort of shouted so that everyone heard. He went, "Hey Seb, good night. We'll see you tomorrow, pal. Yeah." And it's just like he said, like he walked out like 10 feet tall. Like what a guy! I love Ali McCoy.
That's amazing.
Okay, we're here. Football phrases out of context. Ginger Ninja says, listening to this in the bath, and the missus walks in as I'm trying out the wet flannel on the face sucking in the water thing that Flav and James were, whilst that simultaneously Flav and James are just going, there, there. Check out last week's podcast. We were talking about Carragher and something out of context, like him and his missus, wasn't it?
Having sex, wasn't
it?
There, there.
She literally said, what the F? And walked out. Safe to say I stayed in the bath a lot longer trying to figure out how to explain myself.
I don't think I'm just on this sucking bathwater through the flannel thing. I only think it works when you're about 8. I don't think it works as an adult. I wouldn't even know the technique to get the bathwater through it.
Get it going.
I don't know what I want to. Like,
I think you know too much, don't you?
You know, it's such an innocent thing to do. And once you've experienced the world, I don't think sucking bathwater through a flannel is advisable anymore.
Oh, some people are be devastated with that. More on that in a second, because we've got all the sit-down wee stuff to get through. Mickey VSA, footballer phrase out of context. I always walk past a really run-down car in the street, and I think in Gary Neville's voice, the owners should be ashamed of themselves. He's got a few, isn't he? I realised in the video I kept saying at this moment in time, and that Gary Neville says that all the time. Anyway.
It winds me up when everyone says Liverpool Football Club, not just Liverpool. No one else gets it. Manchester United Football Club get it a little bit, but Liverpool Football Club, I know where it comes from.
Yeah, that is weird. I once met.
It gives them the air of like something else. You're above everybody else. No, this isn't Liverpool. This is Liverpool Football Club. It's different.
Sorry, there's a great comment from the Moist Slugs. Jack Hancock, cupping water in the shower and then dropping on yourself never gets old. It's good, isn't it?
No. Yeah, just... and when you do it, there's no emotion. There's no emotion. You're just doing it. I'm doing this again. I'm doing this again. And then it's gone. Again?
Yeah.
Gone.
Do you sometimes lean back?
Yeah, I sometimes think, how much water can I get in?
Can we get? Yeah, true. I once met George O'Brien. I once met Mike Dean in a pub in Crawley, and he spent the whole night making football-related sexual jokes. My personal favourite, and I was so miffed reading this, my personal favourite was, I'd love to see her offside line. What?
What's an offside line?
I'd love to see her offside line.
I'm calling it.
He's called it. Wow. I didn't even think about that. Okay,
not cool. No, I'm calling it.
A few days later, he was reffing the West Ham game, and every time there was an offside call, I had a little grin because I know what he's thinking. He's called it. Okay,
It's not true, George.
let's dive into this. Let's lift the lid on the sit-down wee. Only men know.
So this is because I was outraged at the fact that you have sit-down wees regularly.
70% at home.
70%
at home, crucially at home. Crucially at home. As
so much more work,
mate. 610 comments. Like a huge L for you here. Massive. You don't know what either you're ignorant or you just, I don't know, you're missing out. Anyway, let's give you some.
Two imbeciles. Two imbeciles can outvote an idiot. No, fucked it. I fucked it. Two imbeciles can outvote a genius, is what I was meant to say. I said an idiot.
It's just idiots everywhere. Heartbreak for Flav there.
Fucked it. Shit.
Yeah. So much toilet chat. Here we go. Thomas Powell. Things that men only know. Pea shiver. That is true. Things only men know. You know pea shiver. You've had that, haven't you?
No.
Do you want... Well, okay. Edit. I think off. What is it? Edit. I also sit down pee 75% of the time in my own home. When at a friend's house, I'll stand. When out at a restaurant, I'll use the urinal. I got you, Jim. Pea shiver. You don't ever have a pea shiver at the end. So what's great is when you really need a wee, when you really need a wee, when you really need a wee and then you wee, it's not a pea shiver, but it's just a wonderful feeling of like I'm safe.
Oh yeah,
I'm safe. It's out.
It's almost orgasmic.
Yeah,
at times.
It is. It's in that sort of what's the word?
In that
spectrum.
That's
the word I was looking for. But you never get it at the end. You just get a little shiver at the end. Oh yeah,
no,
love me. Or also, do you ever get the when you've had a shower and you've washed down there and then you get the pain?
No. What do you mean the pain in your belly?
There's you get this I don't know what it is. You get this tinge of pain, ache, sharp ache.
Where specifically?
In your willy.
Inside your willy?
Yeah.
I've had that.
Rushing. It's just
and
you've just got to ride it. You just got to go. You got to hang in and wait for it to go. No one else had that.
There was a thing that was a name. There was a thing it's like post-sex pain. Sometimes you get a bad pain in your dick.
Yeah.
There was a thing on TikTok that people were talking about. It was called a dick period or something like that. I can't remember.
Yeah. No, I don't use mint body wash, but yes, I think it can be more. It can be on the horizon much quicker with that. Anyway, Joe AOB. I went through a little period where I struggled to get any piss out. So I trained myself to spit just before I pissed every time. So that any times I really struggled, a spit would jog the muscles to let it all flow. I'm through this difficult period now, and I would recommend to any strugglers. Because we were talking about, so sometimes you're saying sometimes people go to the toilet and nothing comes out.
Cockshy,
the kind of guy. Brinkley. I find it equally extraordinary and disturbing that Flav has never had a sit-down wee. Not
when I'm just weeing.
Josh,
sometimes tuck it in, when I'm sitting, but not. No, I don't understand it. I don't know anybody.
You need to do it. You do your first sit-down wee.
What difference does it make other than standing?
Well, okay, you're about to find out. Josh says a reply to that comment was, Josh, yeah, never, in capital letters, doing it is mental, but equally sitting down more often than standing is mad to me.
Yeah, I mean, Josh is wrong anyway, but yeah, definitely.
Okay. Thomas Guest, finally, after listening to this football pod for over a year, I finally had a conversation that speaks to me. I stand with you, Jim. Every time I go for a piss, I must sit on the seat because, firstly, I can go on my phone.
You're pissing for 20 seconds.
I can also take my time and don't need to go anywhere. And finally, I can rally myself to get out of the bathroom and carry on my day. There's more to this than you think, Flav. You are the minority.
I'm not.
Yeah. There were 11 replies to this comment. There's so many replies this week. And I thought this was interesting. So Con05 says, there's nothing like a sit-down piss whilst going through Fabio Romano's latest story. And AB then said, I can't believe he said this, but AB went, you can use your phone while you wee. You can use your phone while you wee while standing, unless you only have one arm.
Yeah, true.
Williams Tarantola. The sit-down wee is the way to go. It provides maximum tranquility coupled with maximum comfort. James is spot on when he says it's only in places you are comfortable, brackets. Perhaps one could define it as places where you know every person who regularly has a wee there. Furthermore, there is not even a slim chance that a few drops don't reach the intended target, which, as we all know, as much as we think of ourselves as master marksmen, it's just not 100% guarantee. And as James so eloquently, thank you, put it, sometimes you enter a bathroom not knowing what is to come. A sit-down solves all problems, as it factors in and accounts for all possibilities. The sit-down wee is the way forwards. We can only move forwards.
You're having a sit-down wee, you've still got some left in the chamber. It doesn't eradicate that issue.
But it just gives you... it's just... Okay. Pop George. So, sorry. That comment, Flav, in this football podcast, had 31 replies and 200 likes. 31 replies, right?
I'm outraged here. This is mental. I think they're all just playing along because you're the popular one.
I think you need to stay open with this. Give it a bloody go. I think
I'm going to do a tweet. As a man, do you more often have sit-down wees than stand-up wees? And see what people...
Poll it. Yeah. Pup George, this was the 11th reply, Flav, on the 31 replies. This is the 11th reply. About 4 years ago, I committed 100%. So specific. About 4 years ago, I committed 100% to sit-down wees when in a house, and I've never looked back. Why would I? It's only a wall and a cistern. Very good. It's a time to relax. Consider how your day will go, is going, has gone, as well as about 1 million times more hygienic. Along with a dab on the tip when I'm done with a single sheet of toilet paper to mop up any remaining moisture, are game changers. I don't know why I didn't start doing this decades ago. And Tom Godfrey says, sit down wee feels more glamorous, a higher level of luxury. Why not indulge in that? This is on something different. Thomas Roberts said, this week's this is a different ailment, it seems. This week's toilet cubicle debacle hit me hard. On one hand, I am cockshy. Second time I've heard cockshy this week. And will avoid a urinal at any costs. But entering the cubicle feels wrong, as I assume people will think I'm having a poo. Oh no. Poo cue. Shame. We were talking about that last week. Even worse, if you enter the toilet expecting there to be a free cubicle, but they're all occupied, so you walk in, you take a look around, brackets, avoiding eye contact with anyone, and then you decide to just wash your hands because it feels too weird to just walk straight back out. Aidan Marsden replied, solidarity, brother. Tough time. It is a minefield. Have you tweeted that, have you? Oh, yeah. You know, you were talking about, you said last week that there was a guy in your school who used to write in poo.
Yeah, a geezer called Ricky.
Yeah. He does the poverty now, doesn't he?
Right, his own name, no less. Ricky was here. 1996.
His surname was it, was it? Fraser Peel, in response to Flav's question about whether anyone had a kid at school who wrote in poo, I don't think it was a question. There was a notorious Shriter in my school who became known as Pooh Banksy because he remained anonymous for so long. Shriter. When his works finally stopped appearing, a rumour spread that he was seen fleeing across the school field and tackled to the ground by the deputy head. Who knows where he is today? I love that. I love like just mental rumours that start in your school. That I can't think of one now, but there's like that are just
they have no base on truth. Everyone believes.
Yeah.
So bearing in mind this would have been in 1993. So the political climate and what isn't offensive was completely different back then. Plus, we were all 12 and 13-year-old kids. So this isn't what we would say now. Okay. There was a kid in my class called Moisin, and Moisin, and he had the most incredible eyes. They were like two different colours, and they were all different speckled. And we had the assumption that he had eyes like that because he'd been looking at too many men's bums. And that's what made his eyes go like that. Ridiculous, mental, but after a while, people started to believe it.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Last one on the sit down ways. Joe Dewberry says, "I feel seen." Sit down wee is akin to taking a deep breath to calm down, taking that much needed moment of respite that most men rush through. I truly believe that instead of a forehead vein popping 15-second power piss, settling on the throne, taking that extra 2 minutes of reflection and true emptying of one's bladder is beneficial for both mental and physical health. Flav, give it a go. Okay.
Well, not.
In a low point for the podcast, I've titled this "Mystery Poo." This next comment, Christ, some of the crap that's written on this thing. You know, so
just in hindsight, is this something I should be tweeting? As a man, what do you prefer? Sit down week or stand up week? No one knows the context of this.
I think fine. Yeah, I think fine.
We've had 28 views already, votes already. So currently, sit down we is in the lead, but that's all you fucking bastards. That's what it is. But there isn't enough of you watching this live to affect.
You
this
have
poll.
to accept the poll. Don't put the poll up.
I will accept the poll because there's only how many people are watching this currently? There are 28 people, right? They've all voted to sit down because there's a hatchet job at hand here.
Or what? Stay out of it then. All patrons watching right now, undo your vote. Undo your vote.
No, don't undo it. That's fine. There's nothing they can do. There's not enough of them to have an influence on this.
Yeah, that's true. So mystery poo in a new low point. So when I was reading all the comments earlier, one said, "Great stuff, guys. Keep up the good work." And I was like, really? Anyway, Mr. Bandana. When I was younger, I had a real problem with going for a number 2 in public. However, one day in year 2, my stomach cramps got too much, and I had to make the decision to take a dump at school. While I sat in the cubicle awaiting relief from my torrid tummy torment, very good, I heard frantic footsteps making their way towards and then into the toilet. This was followed by some muffled yelps of confusion and a knock at the cubicle door. Being that I had such a nervous disposition in regards to public pooing, I kept my mouth shut and prayed they'd leave. The silence in the air was met with further panic-stricken squeals and strains, followed by them turning on their heels and heading to the urinal. I reasonably assumed that this boy was a shy pisser that had been terrified at the thought of someone walking in mid-flow. I finished up what needed to be done, wiping and hand-washing, etc., and headed back into the classroom. After 5 or 10 minutes, another pupil was excused to the restroom. On their return to the class, they arrived at the door, grinning from ear to ear. Someone's done a poo in the trough. Suddenly it clicked. The boy had not, in fact, been a little bit cockshy. 3rd time. He was actually just bursting for a shite. And I was the one sat in his way. I'd like to say I felt bad, but I didn't. And I'd do it again in a heartbeat. And the perpetrator was never caught. To this day, I find myself pondering the ordeal. Who was the mystery pooper? Did he wipe? If so, how? Why did he just find another toilet? So many unanswered questions that will take to my grave. Do you know what? I think what Mr. Banana, I can't never say it, Banana Bandana, has got lucky with here is that if he was in the toilet, he's a suspect, isn't he?
Yeah.
I don't know how he got away with that.
Unreal.
Mad.
What's wrong with people?
Yeah. Okay. Things you did as a kid. Sean Levitt. Thank you. We need to calm down on toilet stuff, by the way. I think I said
maybe this is the end of piss and shit chat.
Yeah. I just keep thinking about Catherine's face, just going, fuck, another one. I just feel like
Catherine has just said, first of all, some of us can only ever sit down with. So this isn't a very inclusive conversation, is it?
Yeah, sorry. Well, no, you can do what you want, Catherine.
No, you can stand over it. Anyway, look.
Anyway. Sean Levitt, thank you for bringing my story and many others to light regarding flannel play. It's about healed me after what you said earlier. As long as adult flannel play isn't cool, right? Is that have we decided on that?
I don't call it flannel play. It's just a little moment. Literally took up, I would say, in total, about 18 minutes of my life through my first 10 years of existing. It's not flannel play. That makes it sound like some sort of fucking kink.
Flannel play. No, but someone was saying that, like, this other guy was saying that he likes to just, like, sit back and waterboard himself. That's the flannel play.
Oh, got to stop smoking these fucking vapes.
Okay. Matthew Salter, things I thought of as a kid. So that was what I want to go down that road because we've got down this cul-de-sac of things you ate as a kid.
Yeah, enough of what you put in your mouth. Nothing going in your mouth.
Yeah.
Or coming out of your ass or your penis next week.
Yeah. Matthew Salter, things I thought of as a kid. I didn't know about organs. I thought that food fell to my feet and that the call for nature being at 1 or 2 was because I had filled my body up to the midpoint.
This is good.
I like stuff like that where it's like in a child's brain that is completely logical, right?
Yeah,
exactly. I want more of that.
Yeah.
Bonus thought. Equally, when I had this sensation of pins and needles in my feet, I thought it was because I had drank too much fizzy drinks.
Am I the only one?
Am I the only one? Let's know. Liam Doohan. Hello, James and Flav. When I was a child, I thought that people who ate hot dogs and had blue eyes were either evil or aliens and were out to get me. That's wild. That's so specific, isn't it? People who ate hot dogs and had blue eyes were either evil or aliens were out to get me. I remember being in constant fear at a blue-eyed child's bouncy castle party as the smell of hot dogs overwhelmed me as I bounced anonymously. Ominously, sorry. Not anonymously.
So bounced anonymously.
Luckily, I survived this day and have distanced myself from this thought process since. Love the pod. Sorry, were you going to say something there?
Well, should I do the results of the poll at the end?
Yes. Yeah.
All right, because there's some funny comments as well, because not all of these can be patrons, so this is interesting.
Cadet Limbo. Things I thought as a kid. Me and my mates back in primary school used to think that the number of balls you have, testicles, you have determined how many kids you would have in the future. Bearing in mind, this is all without the faintest of knowledge about how babies are made. The thing is, surely at some point you go, so how many kids are you having? 2. And you? 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 1.
What? And
you? 2. And you? 4. What? 4? Yeah, anyway. Where is he? Connor Shaw. This is so random. Things I did as a kid. I went through a phase of I liked planning things for later in life in a notebook and kept it under my pillow. That's quite sweet, actually. My mum recently brought up how she found it and saw where I clearly used an old Argos catalogue to plan out how I would design my house. The most interesting thing was I only really understood wages based on footballers' wages I'd seen in on those football magazines used to get each week. So despite my writing, I was going to be a chef. I can't cook to save my life, by the way. I thought the average wage would be 10k a week, as Torres and Gerrard must have been on about 100k a week. So in my head, that made sense. Turns out the average wage was not 10k a week. Oh, well.
Indeed, Connor.
An
imbecile as a kid.
Who? Him or you?
Connor.
God bless him. And that's it. So I've got one last Slugs in the Wild to finish off, and then we'll get the poll result, shall we?
Yeah.
Okay, Big Dave. A little Slugs in the Wild here. Me, brackets, and a listener of the pod, and my mates, brackets, who aren't listeners of the pod, decided we would head down to the local student union pub, Sawpoint, in Leicester, for their for their weekly quiz. The quiz was about to start, and so they went through and read out the team names. As the woman read out the list, my ears pricked as she announced one team was called Nigel Martin's Spank Bowl.
No way.
No, I instantly felt at ease knowing I was surrounded by fellow sluggies and excited by a chance of a good nosh if I could locate them. I may have laughed a little too much when that team name was read out, and had the challenge of trying to explain to my mates how I knew exactly what Nigel Martin's Spag Bowl meant.
That would be a challenge if they had no knowledge of it.
Tough.
They'd be like, tough, hard work.
And that its origins are from a football podcast. Amongst the busy pub, I was unable to locate Nigel Martin's Spag Bowl. What a shame. Because he could, if he knows it then, and it's a gamble, but he could have done which we now know is what we need to do when we go up to each other, is we go cheeky nosh off, but it wasn't able to do it, which is a shame. This meant that there was no noshing. However, hopefully I can find them next time, so he can get a blowjob. P.S. Whoever is Nigel Martin's Spag Bowl needs to sort themselves out because they were rubbish in the quiz. Cheers, boys. Love the pod.
That's good work. Good work.
Cheeky nosh off. Someone actually sent me a picture at Fleet Services of them doing that.
Show me.
His girlfriend.
Show me immediately.
I think it was Purdy. Yeah. Look. Cheeky nosh off. Amazing.
Good work.
Right. What are the poll results?
Yes. So it's been running 11 minutes. We've had 724 votes, which if you think there's around 30 people, there's 21 people watching this currently, if you're behind a paywall. So this is conclusive. It is, as we stand, a stand-up we is winning, but I'm alarmed at how close this is.
Is it close?
It's 54% stand-up we, 46% stand-up we. Sit down we. Mark Butcher replies, it's a bit like football, stand up away, but sit down at home.
Spot on. That is spot on.
Jack Hancock says, you're better than this, Flav. I think Jack's with us, though. Johnny Jensen, he says, not like I seek it out.
I've got stand up we winning.
Stand up we, that's what I said.
Oh, sorry, I thought you said the opposite.
Stand up we win 54% and sit down we 46%.
Yeah.
Johnny Jensen says, not like I seek it out, but for a simple moment of calm, a sit down we is a surprising joy. Dazza says, always treat yourself, Flav. Sit down we at home, stand up away. Middle of the night, sit down. Any other time, stand in. Stand up for efficiency. SHB says that. Nadeem says, disturbingly even results. Correct, Nadeem. Laura Oakley says, I have an ongoing debate with people on sit down poo wipe or stand up poo wipe. We've done that before, Laura. I'm sure you're not watching this. Louise, who's a girl, is always stand up for me. And Will says, thought from the start you made a massive miscalculation on this one, Flav. Nothing wrong with a nice sit down and some relaxation. May as well make an even out of a piss.
Do you know what?
Yeah,
I thought someone was going to say it, but I think for me it's stand up for speed, sit down for safety.
Safety from what?
Spray.
Right. I'm surprised.
Well, just, it happens, doesn't it? It's a safer. You just don't have to think, concentrate, whatever. Anyway, we hope you've enjoyed this football podcast. A podcast that I think balances out the need for the words cockshy and amortization. Hand in hand, which is just lovely, really. If you want to become a patron and just be a ledge, then links in the description. We do mailbags each week, and we could go after you. That could be you. Exciting. Anything you want to say, Flav?
No, love you all. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next week.
See you later. Cheers, guys.